It is Tuesday, August 1st, 2023. Of course, we are happy to be in the land of the living. It could have been another conversation, but however, we're here tonight. As always, I have some of the dopest guests that come on. Tonight is no different than any other night. I believe in 6 degrees of separation. You're literally one person away, one advice away, one help away from where you need to be in your destiny. Proven over and over again since I started this show. And it is happening tonight again. This wonderful guest, as we have been deemed, Double Sunshine is in the building tonight. So you are in for an awesome treat tonight. Of course, this show has been sponsored by Blacktop Streetball Association, my big brother event. Thanks again to Robert Jeffries, who did the theme song to the show. Again, please let somebody know that we are live on Facebook. We are live on the YouTube channel. The name of the show, please like, share, and subscribe. We are live on Twitch and Twitter. Please let somebody know this is about to be. All I can tell you is put on the seatbelt. Get your notepads, get your pens, get your voice recorders, because you're going to need it. And for some, you never know. You might want some tissue. I'm just saying. I went light on the makeup tonight because, last week it was mascara everywhere, and I'm not.
It gets like that. It's real. It's real. At least folks know it's real. This is not an act.
Yes, this is not scripted. However, whatever and how it happens, it is what it is. Get over it. So, we got the intro to the show out the way. Is my lips okay? Okay, just make a show. So, Sunshine Cromwell, right?
That's right.
Is a down-to-earth sister and caregiver for most of her life. Is it Rahway?
Rahway. Right next door to Linden.
Okay. New Jersey, after recognizing she was in a fight with depression after transitioning of her daughter at the age of 2. Finally getting matched with the right counselor, she was able to do the necessary work towards her healing journey. Upon her discovery of past goals, she started with the number one goal: to move south to find her mother's side of the family. Sunshine later found herself planted in Greensboro, North Carolina. During her first summer, she attended a Poetry in the Park event, not realizing it was going to reawaken a talent that was dormant since her daughter's funeral. Sunshine knew she was a writer since she was in the 3rd grade. She won 3rd in New Jersey statewide essay contest for Black History Month, affectionately titled My Nana. The energy that poured into her that day had her writing every chance she could, journaling throughout the day like 2 old friends that haven't seen each other in years. October 2016, if you ask her, was when ultimate healing began. It was the first time she had shared her most intimate moment, a poem to honor the transitioning of her daughter titled Motherhood. This experience awarded her an opportunity to have her first viral video and to be published in an online magazine, Speak One Voice magazine. The greatest addition was becoming part of a tribe, a group of artists and entrepreneurs that believe in doing that work. Sunshine loves the communities that she is a part of and loves networking so much that those that know her call her the plug. Those she trusts most, she calls them water, as a way of giving thanks for the impact they have made on her life. Tonight, you guys, we have been blessed again for 2 sunshines tonight. What is going to happen with the host of Shine Vibrations podcast on blastmusic247.com on YouTube, author, North Carolina medication aid, dialysis technician, EMT. Girl, you better do it. Phlebotomist, instructor, North Carolina Notary Public, what is that? Mecklenburg.
Mecklenburg County.
There
That's
you
the
go.
Queen City. You know where Charlotte is. That's where I am now. No longer in Greensboro.
If you want to follow her, Sunshine Vibrations on Facebook. Empowerment and uplifting of our people through spoken word. Tonight, you guys, I want you to welcome the other Sunshine.
Peace, peace,
Hello, honey.
peace. Appreciate you. Appreciate Maine for calling attention, uh, putting me on your radar. Like I was saying backstage, it's kind of weird. I want to move stuff, but this is not my platform tonight. But we use the same system.
Main Event has the majority of the time that I have been in podcasting has been my number one supporter. He brings and drops people off in this place of comfort. So I give all thanks, of course, to him for looking out for me and bringing dope guests this way to have a conversation. We have so many things in common, not only just be in our name. There's so many things that stuck out to me from reading your bio. As everyone knows, in this thing, nothing scripted. I don't ask questions. I don't look you up. I don't do anything. This is very, very off the cuff, off the dome, whatever you want to call it. It is what it is. When I say the conversation can go any and everywhere, depending on the answers that we get tonight.
That's right.
One thing I will say, you are definitely in good hands. I am not Wendy Williams. I don't pry and all of that great stuff. That is not my business. But however, we will get to the keeping it real conversations that most people don't want to talk about. And that's being real with life and with ourselves.
That's right.
Right? First things first was in the first two sentences to say who you were was a part of your pain. I will say that again. Sometimes we get stuck in one place that we forget that we have to go through, go over, go under, however, to go beyond that moment when life changed for us.
Indeed.
So let's go back.
Life really changed for me earlier than that, though.
Let's go.
Earlier than that, I will say, my mother transitioned 21 days before my 9th birthday. So April 4th is the day, 1990. Same day Dr. King was assassinated. Just obviously later on in life, but that was something to take back. That was the first time that experiencing what real and true heartbreak is. I would have to say that. Nonetheless, my household beginnings was not the norm. Shout out to my father, who just recently transitioned back in May. He's known around Union County in New York as Action Jackson, but Tony Jackson, his wife, shout out to my Umi, Jacqueline Jackson, and my mother, Cecilia Cromwell. Back then folks was different, and he went a little left, got caught up, had to introduce my mama. But the dope thing about it is that I give Jackie all the props all the love because I even asked her. So this is her words to my ears, which confirmed what my father had already told me. She said, "What was the sense of me getting mad at your mother for? She wasn't married to me. She didn't know me. And now that there was a child about to be involved, that's our child now." So she said, "We don't have to concentrate on him. You and I are going to be the best of friends because we got a baby to take care of." I
Mm.
literally remember living in Linden and in Roselle with two mothers, a father, and my younger siblings. My father had a lot of kids. We already know what it is. There's no secret to that about, people with multiple children and outside families, outside of the initial family.
Right.
But it doesn't have to be bad for everybody. Any situation can be worked out. It's just the players involved and how they play the game of chess. Um, and I watched the two of them band together. When I say we didn't want for nothing in the beginning, we didn't want for nothing. We had like two refrigerators, two deep freezers, and back in the 80s, remember the old school Coca-Cola machine? My
Hmm.
father had the hookup where somebody brought one of those in the house. you know, um, and as kids at the beginning, I thought that was normal.
Right.
Um, fast forward a little bit, had a little issues with being a pyro, and I have make a little joke, the we call them the crack lighters. You know how they come with like a little lock now on them. I'd be like, yeah, I'm one of those reasons. I went one day to go get my Cabbage Patch doll that I still have to this day that my mother bought me.
Hmm.
Um, it was up under the bed and I saw there was a lighter that fell. So kids are curious. We have no business touching things we should not.
Hmm.
So I picked up the lighter and started flicking it while my hand was still up under the bed. And
So
it
you
ended up
set the bed on fire. Okay.
it never completely, I kept flicking it, but the sparks, that little cloth that's under the box spring,
Hmm.
it ended up getting bigger and bigger. And I snatched my doll. I grabbed my younger sisters and went to the front room where my brother's room was. He was up on the Ave at the time. We had like the best babysitter slash watchdog named Ranger, meanest pit bull on the block. Um, Somebody ended up calling attention, and my brother, shout out to my brother Malik, also known as Christopher Powers. He honorary fireman. If it wasn't for my brother, we wouldn't be here right now. I wouldn't have my sons. I wouldn't experience, the transition of my daughter. Like, there, even though brothers, siblings get on your nerves, to me, there's always a level of love that I'm always going to have, no matter if we're at each other's throats or not, because I don't owe him, but I'm grateful for him.
Grateful. Yeah.
You
Hmm.
know, um, Even though my life hasn't been perfect, I'm still grateful for everything. And I like that you used the same thing that I said, the things that I've grown through, because you got to grow through the things so that you can get to the strength that's waiting on the underside for you. And my life
Absolutely.
early beginning has really, really allow me to come up with those, metaphors and, whatever cliche type sayings. Like, this nothing that I take from other people, is just from life experiences that I've personally had to grow through. Um, but in that being saved, that was the last time that I had laid eyes on my brother. And the last visual I had of him, I really thought that I killed my brother. Firemen carried our dog out. Ranger didn't make it. I heard my brother scream as he was trying to make it down the hallway. Like, I could still see the smoke coming out because it was a four family house and we were on the fourth floor. And I could see the smoke coming straight out, almost like in the animated film when you see them trying to fan the smoke and it's real thick. It was literally just like that.
Hmm.
And I remember him screaming and then the firemen carrying him lifeless, put him on a stretcher, bagged him, and put him in the ambulance. I didn't see my brother no more after that. So for a long time, that was how we got separated. I was then living with my mother's father side of the family in Rawway.
Mhm.
And all this time growing up, all I kept thinking about was my brother. Like, I killed my brother. Never really talked to anybody about it except for shout out to the lady I call my grandmother. She is Pastor Renee Cummings. Um, Her and my grandfather dated early on in my life. She was all I knew. Um, and She was someone that was there that I could confide in, that would always tell me the truth. My Uncle Mike, same way. Never, it's something that it does to a child when you're that honest.
Mhm.
No matter what they grow through in life, they will always go back to those that have been honest with them.
Yes.
Children know your heart, they know your intent, they see it clear as day. And it's not to knock other people. That's just the bond that I had with these particular two. And they were there to guide me and carry me through. Other people in my family were, but it was things that I could come to them and talk to them about without being judged. And that's what all of us want, even as adults. When we reach out to people, we don't want anybody judging us. We just want you to hear us out. And sometimes we don't even want a response. We just need you to hear us, you know? And But that helped. When my mom transitioned, like I said, that broke. And I clung to those two. Very much so. Most people don't like to speak on things, but I'm gonna be honest, and this is called keeping it real, right? I was molested as well, by my mom's baby brother, and it wasn't until I guess one day I felt um, not so much scared to finally say something, and it was to Renee, my savior. She was always there, my guardian angel on earth. And that was the first time I ever had to speak up for myself against an adult and free myself from any type of bondage. And that was at 5. You know, um, Folks in the family, a lot of folks didn't know about that. Us as a culture, it's a stigma. We don't talk about personal stuff. We keep what's hidden behind doors. You don't tell nobody anything, which plays into a lot of the mental health issues that we all have now. If people were more honest and communicate more, I honestly feel that the current plight that we are in as a whole, a nation of people, we wouldn't have. So I pride myself on talking to my sons who are now 9 and 11. I've been very open with them, and I don't teach them to be silent, but I teach them how to respectfully still get your point across as you should. You know, a lot of times people will take away from the emotion that we have behind the words that we're saying and use that as a way to say,
Way.
oh,
Yeah.
you're trying to be disrespectful, or you're angry, or you're this. No, I'm passionate, or this hits me to my core that I feel it so much that it's sometimes overbearing. So my youngest son, he gets emotional, and I have to, baby, remember, calm down, because what you have to say is valued.
Yes.
I don't teach them the what we've heard growing up, a child should be seen and not heard, and I share with them those things and they go, "Really?" And then they question me. "Well, why do you allow us?" Cuz I said I didn't like it. I
Yeah.
didn't like it, and it didn't help because there were times when I needed to speak, but a
Couldn't.
child should be seen and not heard. So a lot of things that I've experienced that could have been very detrimental to me mentally, until I finally found my voice to speak up. That could have changed me for the worse earlier than losing my
Yeah.
daughter.
Right. Um, Without even knowing this part, again, we have so many things in common. Being molested, also later being raped. more than once. It was almost to the point of I'm not cool with how I look because I don't want you looking at me a certain
Mm.
way. So I hid dressing like a boy, wearing bigger
I
clothes.
was a tomboy too, but I liked it because I was
Listen,
just look. I'm thinking I liked it because I was comfortable. But do you know how the mind works? The mind is so powerful that I didn't speak those words to myself, but my subconscious had me covering myself up
mm-hmm.
and dressing like a
Yeah,
boy majority of the
you
time.
don't know, you don't realize that you're doing it until you're in your 20s, you're in your 30s, realizing like, oh, that started way back then. Of
Mhm.
one of the biggest advocates or uh, that I have to say is your predator is 9 times out of 10 somebody you already know.
Yep.
They're already
And
in
your
your
blood.
circle. Yeah, in your blood, or their neighbors, or
Mhm.
it's wherever your parents get there or put their guards down to think I could trust my child around this person, not realizing that when you are at an age where you are developed, right?
Mhm.
You can start getting boobs at
Yep.
9, 10.
Yep.
Grown men looking at me.
Yep. I'm a big girl, so I definitely know what you're talking about.
And so the conversation was my dad would say, I don't want you ever being in a room with a man by yourself.
Mhm.
Right. So if my dad had to tell me that, he knew that somebody was looking or having the option, or I want to say, not to just say, hey, those chances was going to happen, but I
It
saw
was to
grown
put
men
you
looking
on
at
it
me.
was to put you on
Yes.
point,
I
and
saw grown
he
men
might have
looking,
seen it and just didn't wanna
whole
say nothing in front
married.
of you.
Right, whole married with children, and they're looking
Mhm.
at you, and it's like, ugh, at the time, like, ugh,
Yep.
dude, you like my daddy's age, my grandpa's age, not
Mhm.
not that we're looking at and saying, hey, what used to freak me out, you're 14 years old, you're walking to the corner store, and the, as we say, the Negroes, the winos sitting at the door like, hey baby girl, da 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 da. When you look
Mhm.
back at it like,
You was
wait,
trying me. Yep.
what?
And then don't let it be somebody that knew your mother,
Yeah.
cause I look just like my mother. The difference is I have my father's size, but I look exactly like my mother. And it would be grown men that would say, you know, you look like so. And my whole thing is, you already know who my family is. Stop playing with me. Looking at my face, you cannot say you do not know who I belong
Right,
to.
right, right.
And then I would be like, yeah, Cecilia, or the family called the Choo Choo. That was she was named after an amateur boxer. My grandfather just loved him in Jacksonville, North Carolina. When he was stationed in Camp Lejeune, he would always go to the Golden Gloves boxing matches, and they had this guy, and that was his nickname. And the minute he had him and my grandmother Janet, she passed away before I could even get a chance to meet her. Um, that's what they dubbed my mother for her nickname. But on the street, they called my mother Shoo Shoo. So the minute I would say that, it would be, oh my God, oh wow. The ones that she was really cool with, that I know like she meant the world to them, they would call me Shoo Shoo Junior or Little Shoo Shoo. You know what I'm saying? And they would curve that. Once they realized who I belonged to, when them other winos hanging out at the doors and stuff like that, or walking around, they'd be like, "Nah, fall back. You know who daughter that is?" But it would be one. It
Mm-hmm.
would be one that would still try to push the envelope,
Yeah.
still try, simply because they wanted to try my mama and couldn't get her, so they think they're gonna get me. I
Right.
ain't slow, bruh. You try that with somebody else.
Yeah, the unfortunately it happens more than we want to put a number to.
Exactly.
And one of the things we understand, and I am big on too, we don't realize that we're more in common than we are different. But you'll never know that until you actually have a conversation.
That's right.
And just listening to you is like, we have the similar stories outside of um, your daughter. But another thing that we don't talk about is death.
Mm-hmm.
We just don't. It's like we passed on that this was a taboo that you had to figure out on your own how to get over it. And we don't want to talk about counseling. We don't want to talk about therapy. We don't want to talk about none of this stuff, which can help us get our feelings out. But we don't do that because it's like, oh no, black people, we don't talk.
We just supposed to take it and smile and keep going in life. We don't have time to 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 be about the business that really is about us, because we got life to keep pushing forward, and we've been doing that so long and for so far as a people that all the stuff that we see now, thanks to social media, is just the manifestation of it all.
Yes, absolutely. So we have more people that are functional alcoholics, on
Drug
some type
addicts.
of drug,
Hmm.
to mask your
Hmm.
emotions or not deal with your past. Guess what? After you get done with this bottle and you acting a fool,
It hits you, bam, right in the face.
it's still there. Instead of sitting down and actually talking to someone. We have been through some okay?
Hmm.
We all have.
Yep.
And instead of saying, "Hey, I'm messed up," I really want to say something else. We
That's why I'm
choose
sitting here
to,
like this, because I'm trying not to let the words slip out on your
uh,
podcast. Because
we
see,
don't
mine is mature, mature
listen.
audiences, so it's free for all on my podcast. But I like to respect other folks' podcast.
I get it. I want to say with the capital F.
Hmm.
Um, and we find our way, or we have those moments where you can be real with yourself. Take your wig off. Take your makeup off.
Hmm.
Sit down and have a moment with yourself.
That's right.
I had a moment of sitting down with a life coach. And the biggest thing was I have cycles that have to be broken.
That's right.
In order for me to get to where I need to go, I need to go back, trace it back to
Hmm.
where all this came
That's
from,
right. Uh-huh.
right? And so those moments of dealing with pain, yes, pain can either make or break you.
That's right.
But for some of us, we create our way out of it. So let's talk about how did we get from A to B? After you lost your mom, after you set the house on fire, after you assumed that you killed your brother, and life as you knew it was no longer, what did you do?
Um, After being bounced around through family members,
Mm-hmm.
I landed with my nana, my great grandmother, my grandfather's mother, my mother's grandmother. Her name was Eolyn Cromwell. We called her Elaine for short, but that was my nana. Okay. I could tell where my mom got some of her shape from. She looked just like her mother, but on both sides of it, small, petite frame women, shapely, but petite and small, but mighty hands. Okay. My nana was no joke. Um, she just being around her, like, I'm the generation, I think the last generation of kids that had to share a room with an adult. Um, I slept in the same bed with my nana all the way up until she passed when I was in 8th grade. But in that time, sharing the room with her, I got the opportunity to sit at the feet of the elders, which I like to call, well, I did call them the Fitch sisters, which included my nana, her sister Azalea, my Aunt Winnie, my Aunt Helen, and my Aunt Mabel, and to include my Aunt Mina, their cousin. So I'm around these 6 women majority than everybody else in the family. So I got a different type of shaping and rearing just being amongst them. In 3rd grade, I started just writing. I don't even know what started, to be honest. It could have been an assignment in class. Um, I don't even know if my teacher is still living, but shout out to Miss Quinn. She was one of the teachers that people thought was very, very mean. She just didn't play, and she was a white lady, but she just didn't play. I got them 6 women was like that. They didn't play. You come in here, you do what you're supposed to do and go on about your business. She was the same way. But one day she came over to my table and she said, "What is this?" And I just said, "I don't know. I'm just writing." So she picked it up and went and sat down to her table because she noticed sometimes I would drift off and just write. And she came back to me and she gave me grades on them. She said, "Does anybody write in your family?" And I was like, "No, not like books and stuff like that." At the time, no. She said, "Here." And she handed me, do you remember the Highlights magazine?
Mm-hmm.
She said, "Your poems, you need to talk to your grandmother and see if she can get your poems in there." Um, Before I even had the opportunity to do that, that's when the governor Jim Florio at the time, look, dag, that was the 90s. He I don't remember what program it was under, but this was something that they reached out to all the schools across New Jersey. And I came third in the state, and it was 2 guys. One was in high school, one was in junior high, and then there was me in 3rd grade. And it was titled My Nana, and it was literally about my great grandmother taking me in to raise me because my mother was no longer here. My mother transitioned from AIDS. She was part of Harlem Hospital's clinical trials back then. She wasn't given, the actual AZT cocktail. She was given a placebo. So when she transitioned in May of 1990 is when they revealed the AZT cocktail. Um, at the time, I did not know. I do remember my mother being pregnant the last time I visually saw her. So I do have a sister somewhere out there. The only thing I can remember is her name is Sade. I thought I found her. Ended up becoming friends with a Sade Cromwell from the DMV area. And when she reached out to her family, she said, "Yo, if it wasn't for the fact that her mother is the Cromwell, she looked like us. Her father's a Cromwell." So I already knew that wasn't my sister.
Mm-hmm.
But we're still friends to this day. We still have yet to meet each other in person, but we're still connected because of social media. She said that her mothers and her aunts keep saying, "Yo, she related to you somehow." Because my uncle Mike used to say, if you meet another black person with the last name Cromwell, 9 times out of 10, y'all related. He said, "Just know that."
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Okay." But getting there, reading that, to me, it wasn't like a big deal. You know, it was just me being honest, taking the time with a best friend of mine, a paper and a pen, and just being very transparent, which a lot of people forgot how to be. And
Mm-hmm.
I established that young, um, showing how the love of her pouring into me, the Fitch sisters, everything that they did. I really had a village, even though I didn't have my mother directly, there. My father was in and out of incarceration, prisons here, all up and down in New York. So he wasn't around. So it was whatever men were there in the family and, the women. I was around strong women, uh, people in the church, people outside of the church, people in the mosque, you know, those who are 5% of culture, heavy around raw way, aka righteous way. All of that. I took it all in. Old folks say, take what's off the plate for you and leave the rest there. You can learn from everybody.
Absolutely.
And I took all the good and great things and held on to those. So even though somebody can think that there's no reason for us to be talking, but they're looking on the outside, I took the opportunity to open my mouth to speak to you. So I know what's good coming from you. All that other stuff that's a part of you, I don't got nothing to do with that. But I took them jewels you just gave me, put them in my pocket and saved them for later. Um, they folks who are religious, they say one thing, but then you preach saying God can use anybody, but then when you see people on the street, it's something different. They turning their nose up, or why they talking, or why is she over with them? You don't even know if that person is over there ministering to me. That person in their current plight can be giving me the best advice than someone who got their nose up in the air. So I do my best to never look down on anyone. And my nana taught me that. I wrote about that in there early at 10 years old to be able to understand life. It was because of them I was able to do that.
If
Um,
we could only, if people could stop, and I'm another person that's big on village. I know what the village did for me. I know what they're still doing for me. Um, and the things that the village can do for us is not only celebrate you when you're down, they always celebrate you also when you're up. They're there. There is certain ones that I could just run and talk to, or just pick up the phone and they know something is up by your
mhm.
tone,
Yep.
how you
Mhm.
breathe,
Yep.
all of that. It's like,
Or
okay,
your silence.
yes, my
Even
silence,
better, your silence. The
which
ones
is
that recognize
important.
and know your silence, those are the ones that the creator definitely put in your path. And a lot of people forget
It's
about that.
crazy because when you have those moments when you're tired, it's sometimes it's hard being the strong one. We say this all the time, or I see it all the time. Like, check on your strong friends.
Mhm.
We lifting a lot of people up that you don't see or you do see. And the
Yep.
moment is when you have to try to stay out of your own way and say, do anybody care about me while I'm caring about everybody else? Right? Do they get it? What I do is not easy. You talking about dedicated, committed,
Mhm.
tired is all outdoors with a whole job, a
Yep.
whole wife, a whole everything else that I do. And I make sure that the world sees twice a week, if sometimes more than that, somebody dope like you. Why? Because you have a story to tell
That's right.
that I'm not charging you for. Why? Because if it was more people like me and you to tell the truth, be transparent and honest about the we done been through,
Mhm. And
it would
save a
be,
life.
oh my God,
It'll save a life, and it pays it forward. You save one, that one saves two. Those two save three of their own, and so on and so forth.
and
That
it doesn't matter
reciprocity
like
and duality. A lot of people
where
don't know
you
how to
are
operate that.
in the world.
That's
We
right.
all have the same crap.
Yep.
I don't care if you're in Italy, and I've had somebody on here from Italy. Speaking of, I need to get in touch with him. But however, um, it doesn't matter where you are. If you understand the language, we can talk.
Pain is pain.
It is.
Hurt is hurt.
It is.
love is love. It does not matter where you are. Those things are universal languages.
Absolutely. We talk about the pain, we talk about love, we talk about music. And before I even started, I'm playing music because that's my therapy. Whether I hear it or am I singing, am I writing it, whatever that is. Um, and I'm sitting here and I'm listening to Gene Noble. If you do not know who that is, everyone in this world, you need to know who Gene Noble is.
Yeah, because when I heard it, I said, "Wait a minute, who's that? I heard that before." I got an ear where where I remember stuff, so I knew it was familiar. And yeah, that brother,
Though,
he got
yes,
pipes.
he's definitely underrated for sure. But the moment of we're gonna unpack some things that can be in somebody else's throat. We talked about death, and we're going to transition into wisdom being passed down to us with our hands open, our ears, our heart, everything. Because one day we know wisdom has to pass,
Yep.
wisdom has to go to the grave. What are you doing in the meantime? Are you going to be the one sitting at the casket acting a fool because you let wisdom go and you didn't ask questions? Right?
Shoot, my cousin told me I know answers to stuff that they never thought to ask questions about because I was up under them. I saw from a different perspective. So whatever their children did not take, or they may have had it and didn't remember, I was soaking it all up. I remember my Aunt Winnie, right around the same time when I did the essay and everything. Like, my family used to be real big on getting together, and that's what a lot of us stopped doing as well.
Mm-hmm.
They
Mm-hmm.
would do the cookouts. My Aunt Mabel, my Aunt Winnie, my Aunt Yaya, and Uncle Lonnie. Like, those were like three of the houses that everybody would meet up at. And I remember my cousins, they both had kids at the same time. So I have one of my little cousins here and the other one here, but I'm like 10, 11 years old. I'm in the house with the babies. You know what I'm saying? Putting them to sleep, taking turns. And I never really knew that people were watching me because this is family. This is what you do. And my Aunt Winnie used to bring that up all the time. She would be like, Moni, I'll never forget that day you was in my little front room and you change one baby, you put that baby down, and you got that one to go to sleep, and then you got the other baby, and you put that one down, got that one to go to sleep. And she said you came and you helped us in the kitchen, and then you heard one baby and you just ran straight back, knocking everybody out of the way, and then you had them both in your arms. I mean, I love my family. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what y'all showed me. This is what I wrote about in my essay about my nana. So I can't write and speak about these things and don't actually walk in
Mm-hmm.
it. So it all came from them. I told them one day I'm gonna write a book titled The Fitch Sisters. And my Aunt Helen, she's actually the last surviving one. She's 94. And uh she's very nonchalant about it, but she's the mother of Tommy Jenkins, one of the original members of Cameo. So, like, I've been around some of his famous friends. He used to date Olivia Brown. I got a chance to chill with her, talk to her, pick her brain. So when I meet famous people like recently KRS-One, I'm chill. I don't be starstruck because I've learned early on they just regular people. Once I realized my cousin was famous, I was like, oh, they just like us. They ain't nobody. Like, not saying that they not nobody, but
Right, right.
like, they're not different. They are just like me. I could be them one day. And shout out to my cousin Tommy because he was always say, hey, he was like, I know you singing in the choir and stuff. If you and your friends is really serious, put a demo tape together. Like, my cousin did extend that. I'm not even going front. He was like, anything, Moni, that you want to do. if you can't get me directly, just talk to my mother. And my Aunt Helen, she was so powerful in not knowing what to say, the stuff that I started to share with her. And I loved her honesty because sometimes our families are so big and we do not get the chance to know everybody individually. And she just one day said, "You know what, Moni? I never really like knew your mom like how I know you." And I don't know if it bothered her or if it made it feel like she missed out. But and I told her, I said, "Well, what makes you say that?" She said, "No, well, my kids were a little older, so my Aunt Mabel's son, my cousin Billy, my mom was one of his favorites. He said they used to play practical jokes on each other all the time, and she used to babysit him. So they had a different bond. Um, my Aunt Helen was one of those that ended up going to college later on in life. So, her life was different. She had three children of her own, a husband, and she was pursuing a college degree late in life. So I already, understood that without her having to explain to me. But when I opened up to her about being molested, her and my Uncle Lonnie, my Aunt Ye's husband, who is Azalea, the family call her Yeye for short. Um, the two of them gave me books at 10 years old that changed my whole life. Um, and excuse me, only because it's the title of the book. My Uncle Lonnie gave me Dick Gregory's original copy of his autobiography titled Nigger at 10 years old. And the reason why he gave that book to me, not only because I was pestering him, because I kept looking at this book, this white book with this word that I know is bad written in black, but I was drawn to it and I wanted to read it so bad. But I had a racist encounter. And once I came to the house and told him about it, that's when he finally gave me the book. That book changed my life when it came to us as a people. Then my Aunt Helen turns around and she gives me Maya Angelou's, her original paperback of In the Heart of a Woman. And I tell every woman, if they have not dealt with things that have been done to them, that is definitely a book that they will want to add to their reading list. Because to know who Maya Angelou is at the time, she's this famous poet. I never knew her story until I was given that book. And
Mhm.
to know that she has been through the same things that you and I experienced, things that was taken from us that we did not give to anyone, and to see her still up this high, oh, I know I can make it. Like that's what did it for me. That's where my confidence level took off. One, because they knew how to pour into me. The civil rights era, all the stuff that they experienced, living through the Great Depression, experiencing the Harlem Renaissance, me looking at their pictures, seeing them and dressed to the nines and everything, taking all of that in, I knew that I could use that to get me over, to get
Yeah.
me through,
Mhm.
whatever blockades was there. They gave me these tools to move around, to function better in the world. A lot of people would say to me, a lot of folks talk to you, just random people. Like, and I'm like, yeah, I'll be like, I don't know why. I said, the creator done made a face that's familiar to folks where they feel comfortable. And I I don't prejudge.
Right.
I take you as you are. And even those that you take as they are don't recognize that that's what you're doing either. Because they've been done dirty by so many
So
people
many. Yeah.
that even when you say to them, okay, I understand,
They
but
don't believe
that,
you.
that don't mean nothing.
Right.
I'm talking to you, the person. I'm talking to your heart. I don't care about what 100 other people done said about you. That's not my experience.
Actually, yes. So here's the moment of the little things that matter. So when we talk, he's like, you're going to You're going to do it from your living room. And I want you to sit on your couch, where most people have a negative inclination about talking to people on the couch because it's a form of therapy, right?
Mm-hmm.
He said, no, you do it, but I give you something to make them comfortable. What is that? There is no judgment. Most of the stuff that people talk about on here, I've dealt with personally,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's your sexuality, whether it's being raped, molested, whether it's you trying to figure out life, whether you've been divorced, whatever. I've been
Mm-hmm.
there, done it. There's nothing like for
You feel
real.
like Dr. Dre, right? Been there, I done that. I got dough, I got stacks.
Listen, it is, um, but like I said, the book, the story, the writing, the creative part of coming out of the dirt, right? And that's why I love orchids because they flourish in dirt.
That's right.
Flourish, beautiful flowers. They come from dirt, not like normals. Not they want the dirt. Like it's you know,
That's
I don't
right.
care how much you put on me.
I'm
I don't
still
care
gonna
how much
shine.
you stab me. I don't care if you do whatever. I'm still coming out and I'm gonna shine.
That's right.
So those moments of pain. So let's talk about your daughter. So what happened?
She got out of my neighbor's house. I lived in Rawway Projects at the time, and Route 109 sits right behind there. So, I had just came out of the hospital just finding out I had bad sciatica. They was trying to, as the old folks say, cut on me. And I'm like, y'all not cutting on me unless it's to have a baby. That's it. Um,
Mhm,
but they gave me, medications and stuff like that. And my neighbor had a granddaughter that was the same age as my daughter. And shout outs to Janala. Uh, and I'm still connected with them to this day. Watching her and watching my little cousin Katessa, they're all the same age. So, whenever I look at them, it's like I see my daughter in what she would be at that current age,
mhm,
being like a guardian angel to them. Like I always see her face next to them, whether I'm in their space or if I'm looking at a picture of them, but I always see that she's with them. And the grandmother was like, "Wait a minute, you just came out the hospital. You've had these girls all day." She was like, that's I was like, "Well, yeah, your daughter got to go to work tonight. So it's fine. I'm cool." She said, "Well, I'll keep them tonight." She kept them. Uh, her daughter had a rough night at work. Working at McDonald's drive-through third shift. You know how folks be coming from the club, they rude. Then you got a rude supervisor. So she was out of it. She quit. She left. She came home. You walk in your house. If you don't know what's going on in your house, you just move how you regularly move. She
mhm,
slammed the door, just went in and went upstairs. Their screen door, you know how housing do. They fix stuff when they want to. I had known that my daughter can open the door because it was those arm handle doors. All the
mhm,
child gotta do is get a finger up there and pull it down and it'll pop open.
mhm,
The door wasn't locked. She would not have been able to get out had their screen door been fixed. So, because the screen door had just that pushed, but it was a little higher and she couldn't reach that. She didn't know my daughter was there. She didn't even know her daughter was there. She just went and laid down. From what I gather, the noise startled my daughter, and she got up and walked out looking for me.
mhm,
You can see after a while when they came and got me and her father, because her father, let me back up a little bit. Her father had just came back to see her for the first time on his own. I'm that type of big mother or mother that will make sure if you're not active, I will make sure your child still sees the rest of the family despite what you choose not to do.
Mhm.
So I would still drive out to Jersey City, take the train out there to make sure she got to see her aunt, to make sure she got to see her cousins and her uncles. And we still fly to this day, you know. But his sister called him upstairs. That's when Duncan Projects used to be Duncan Projects. And she said, "Your daughter down here." And shockingly, he came like so fast, like he took the stairs to come down to her apartment. And he went straight to her. He didn't speak to nobody else. I didn't care if he spoke to me. He did exactly what I expected. And he went straight to her. He was talking to her. The other sister called from Brooklyn. She was getting on him. Like, see, we told you she wasn't like that. You need to be in your daughter's life more so she could start coming across the water to come see us. And he was like, "Well, I'm gonna come get her next weekend." And his older sister was like, "No, you're not. You're gonna go out there. You're going to see her. She's going to get reacclimated with you before you think you could just take her and go anywhere." And I never had a problem with that.
Mhm.
So he was like, "All right, cool." He was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna come through, whatever." And he was there that day. So when they left and went next door, he left and went to the train station to go back. So when my daughter got out, she went looking and she walked all the way to where my car was parked. Later on, the detectives took us so that we could observe the surveillance tape. My daughter already knew how to walk across the street there because it was the football field, Madden Field, where Pop Warner football is. She was always at the games, practices with my little cousin and my aunt. So she knew where she was going. Taught her
Mhm.
how to cross the street, taught her how to look for the street lights. She knew that. This is like 5, maybe 4 something in the morning, 5 in the morning. It's still nighttime. So when she walks around and goes to the driver's side of my car and gets on her toes and looks in and she don't see me sitting in the car, I saw her head snap like that. And I said, "Oh my gosh, she went into the football field." The detective stopped the tape immediately. He said, "How do you know that?" And when I just explained what I said, he was a detective when we were growing up, Detective Clay. He was sergeant then. He had to check that officer. He said, "Hold up." He said, "I know this young lady personally. We not going to interrogate her like that." So I've been in spaces, and this is why I show so much love and support for our black men, because despite the things that's been done to me, I've had more times where black men have stepped in to protect me. And this was another one of those times. And I said, "Well, we spend over there every day. That's like her playground. She know how to walk over there. I wouldn't walk her across the street. I stand right there with her. She look both ways and be like, 'Okay, mommy, I'm going.'" And she walked right across the street. And I watch her, my aunt would get her, and then they go walking around to wherever they were sitting. That was normal for her. So we kind of helped them after that, knowing that that changed the investigation. They started to look because they were trying to find fault with the family that she stayed with.
Mhm.
I mean, I had state DSS, DIFUS people, the police harassing people that are trying to come to my door. They boarded up the apartment next door, talking about oh, they're going to riot. This is to protect our property. But y'all wasn't thinking about protecting me. They were more focused on the infrastructure than the life that was lost. But they were causing the riots. So the stuff that we see now has always been in existence because you get some officers that get air in their chest and want to be the big tough guy or the big tough woman and not realizing that you don't have to deal with us like this. They were on heightened security for no reason. Sergeant Clay, he said, "I want you to know you controlled the whole temperature that day." And I looked at him and I said, "What?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "I heard what you said to somebody. The news went to go interview people that did not know me. And I stepped in. I said, "Why are you talking to her? She doesn't even live here and I don't know her. What y'all not going to do is downplay this. My daughter is going to get her shine. You could talk to these people over here, but these folks standing over here, they don't know me. They ain't never spent a day with my daughter. Please respect my child's life." I got to see all the people that my nana, all the folks, like the news anchors that she was famous, all the famous ones growing up, they all came. And I got to meet them. She wasn't no longer here. But even in our one-on-one interviews, I had to tell them, I know who you are. I've been sharing a room with my nana, watching you on the news since I was a little girl. You know, um, this young lady who worked for the New York Times, she really was like a lot of people were hurt, even if they didn't know us. There were people who genuinely felt my pain, and she was just so stricken. Like, her and her crew went and bought a gang of food and brought it there. And she said to me, she said, "In my family, this is what we do." And she said, "And I hope you don't feel any type of way." She said, "But the friends that I have that are black, I found out that they do the same thing." And she said, "You and your daughter meant a lot to a lot of people. So we just wanted to make sure that y'all had what you need to give to everybody." It was like over 1,500 people around my house. And certain people who were very close to me made sure, nah, you don't get to act up. And of course, you want Mo to get out here and come out here and correct you. Not today. What y'all not gonna do her like that today? Cause I'll forget. And like, for real. But they was like, "Nah, we gonna keep it cool. Don't nobody need to get all wild, because the moment you get wild, you're gonna have to deal with her, and I'm gonna get out the way." But it was peaceful. I appreciated everybody that was there for that. Um, Even when leading up to the wake, wakes usually go from 6 to 9. I hugged every single person that came in that church. There was people I didn't know that came in that church. And the little kids that knew her was crying, and me just being who I am, I just took the time to talk to them as they came up to the casket. It was closed casket. Um, but as they came up to the casket to pay their condolences, and look, shout out to my cousins, Mona and Wally, because as soon as I turned around, my whole father side of the family was standing up there with me, and I didn't even recognize it. And to me, because my father was still incarcerated at the time, that right there were them standing in the gap for
Statue.
him,
Yeah. Mhm.
and I will never forget that. And um for people to say, like, I wasn't trying to not deal. What did you read in my bio? I've been a caregiver for majority of my life. Sometimes that just kicks in and you're on autopilot. And to be honest, that's exactly what it was. It was just the autopilot kicking in. And it took from 6 to like 8:45 for us to finally start the wake, because that's when they stopped the line for people to walk in to pay their respects. People from high school that like people I hadn't seen since high school were there. My best friend, shout out to Alexander. We've been friends since diapers. Our mothers were best friends. I hadn't seen him in years, you know, but he came from Maine for that. You know, he was there when I was about to give birth, being right there, taking me around to the mall, getting stuff. Him and his girl was like the best. They made sure, he was like, "Look, this is like my sister. We gotta look out." And I'm always gonna be indebted to them for that. But it showed a lot, in times of death, when people don't know how to handle and heal through it. That's where you get the bickering, the fighting, and all of that stuff. But I will say it took the veil off, so some people were exposed that needed to be, and it just took this. in order for it to happen. But at the same time, I gained so much more. A lot of people would apologize. I just didn't know what to say. Your presence, your silence was strong enough because I remembered you being there. I saw, even if people think I didn't see them, oh, I saw them. And later on, when people felt well enough to think that they could come talk to me, I'll be like, I know you was there. I appreciate you being there. I just didn't know what to say. You don't have to say anything a lot of times. Just being present is majority than half the battle. Just to have that support. People that I didn't even know that rocked with me. I ain't know some folks rocked with me like that, but they was there. And a lot of the ones that I didn't think rocked with me were the ones in the forefront, making sure everybody had what they need when they came through to my house. So, and I appreciate that. That also helped kind of shape me when I started to battle with depression. You know, um, it was hard. I was trying to write and the writing just wouldn't happen. And I gained weight. It was just all types of stuff going on. And shout out to my homegirl, Laretha Smalls. We worked together at the time. So my whole job was there to support as well. But it took for her to come to my house to look at me. Most people don't like to be honest, because they think they're going to hurt your feelings. But she was like, bruh, what's going on with you? I was like, what you talking about? She said, are you pregnant again? And I was like, for real, you got jokes? She was like, nah, I'm just saying, your foot sitting in your sandals looking like biscuits coming out the can. She said some other words. I tried to clean it up as best as I could. And I looked down. I said, what? you know, these have always been in the way. I haven't been able to see my feet since I was like 14, 15. So
Mhm.
I wouldn't have paid attention like that. But when she said that, that was the first wake up. Okay. I started walking, going to the park. I'm in my head, having that time with me, nature, God, the universe, working on me the whole time. I ended up losing like 150 pounds by myself. No surgeries, none of that. When it started getting popular, no, I did all that work on my own. And it was also me building myself back up because that's when I decided to make the move to North Carolina. After that, a lot of people didn't want me to go. They tried to block me. They said, yo, if you let her go by herself, she not gonna come back. I had a friend literally cry to me and she was like, Mo, if you go, we not gonna know what's happening with you down there. What if you have a episode? Can't none of us get to you right away? Like she was in tears saying this to me.
Mhm.
So I waited. But then when it was time for me to go, I was out. And North Carolina was really more about me. It wasn't about everybody. It wasn't about being a caregiver for the family. It was totally me focusing on me.
Mhm.
And that's when the real healing started. Because as you read in the bio, I went to shout out to Josephus. He's the one that hosted the Poetry in the Park in Greensboro. And I walked up to him. I thanked him for the event. I said, brother, you just don't know what this event did for me. It just unlocked some stuff for me. Fast forward to when I did the poem 10 years after the transition of my daughter, I had someone, soon as I got off of stage, say, do you mind? I recorded you. Can I please share this with my sister because she just lost her daughter? I said, by all means, you could take my number too. If she needs somebody to talk to, she can come holler at me. He was one of the vendors. Shout out to Justin Tyler because he makes the best cakes and cupcakes out there next to my cousin Tracy, though. But he gave me a whole cake that took home and shared with my boys. You know, just the thing when you get up there on stage and you're open and transparent and you share your life, you really don't know. Poetry is out here saving lives. You know, that's how people get to see you in your most vulnerable space. And then the same way that I recognized about Maya Angelou, wow, okay, this person is talented, but they're just like me. They went through some fire, and I be telling folks, I still haven't wrote about everything. I just wrote about the most significant event because that's where I was reawakened. That's where I was changed. And that poem, Motherhood, is where I talk about all of that. How the beginning of the life, the conception to birth, how that changes you. But then the removal of life that you brought into this world also shapes and molds you as well. It's up to us if we allow it for the good or not.
So we had talked, I couldn't imagine. Um, and anyone who knows me know one of my biggest desires is to have children. Um, and to wait this long and to only have him or her a short moment in time, I couldn't imagine. Um, so now we have, well, you have, not we, you have two sons who uh, get to see you complete you.
Mm-hmm.
See the gifts, and I put that on there, writing the gift, writing, quote unquote,
Mm-hmm.
the gift that continues to grow and give back. Some people as who are not creative or who really don't understand the gift of writing. What we see in writing is more than just words. It becomes the painting, it becomes the movie, it becomes what we hear when we're listening to music.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the thing that connects us to one another's heart.
That's right.
Um, we talked about pain. We talked about um, life after death.
That's right.
And I said earlier that writing can be, or writing was therapy for you. And
Uh-huh.
sometimes the thing that we're comfortable with can also be the thing that we hate because it no longer serves that purpose because we're comfortable, right? It took time. And we always hear this, in time it will get better. Like at the time, I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to hear that
I
crap.
don't want to hear that.
I don't want to hear that. Um, I want Superman back. For you, you want your daughter, you want your mom, you want your nana, you want all of these, and they will never be here. And
But they'll
so,
be here through my writing.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember being at the funeral for my dad, and he died 2016, and I thought life had ended. He has always been my best friend because I really wasn't his seed, but he took care of me since I was an infant.
I understand.
And because he treated me like I was his seed, I loved him even more. There was no difference between my brother and my sister. We
That's
were
right.
all brothers and sister,
That's
period.
right. Mm-hmm.
And he will smack anybody who say that I wasn't his child.
That's right. Smack fire at him.
Exactly. So when life happened and we got the prognosis and that he was a dialysis patient.
Hmm.
Exactly.
So that's how we connected again.
I told you I told you this. So he was a dialysis patient for 18 years, which is unheard of.
Mm-hmm.
Daddy died several times on the table in different surgeries of getting your graft unclogged and
Mm-hmm.
this and that and all the stuff that goes on with this. I saw him change complexions. He was already
Mhm.
dark, but
Yep.
then he
With
became,
dialysis, you get darker.
he
Mhm.
got darker. My dad had healthy hair, healthy nails, and all of these things until he became frail.
Mhm.
I saw Superman take several shots of kryptonite until one day he couldn't take it no more. There was no moments going to the
Mhm.
sun to recharge. Even in this, I still didn't believe. Even when they pulled back this purple curtain, because at the time purple was my color, they pulled back the curtain and he was laying there on the whatever you want to call it. He still had the tube in his mouth, and he
Mhm.
was laying there, and he looked like I could just go up to the glass and say, "Daddy, wake up." Until they said, "Okay, family, it's time for another family to come in," and they closed the curtain. And I turned from the window. I was the last person to leave out. And I whispered out loud, "What am I going to do now?" At the time, I didn't have the best relationship with my mom, and he was always the mediator.
Mhm.
What do I do now? Who's going to talk for us? Who's going to mend the relationship? What do I do now? Because I was daddy's favorite. And he had those moments when he knew I was messing up. And he'll say, "Camila, it's time for you to come home. It's time to have a daddy daughter talk." I miss those talks.
But see now, you could call on him at any time and he's there. That's the difference when energy does not die. It's the physical form, but the energy is there. That chill that you get, or that little quiet moment and you just chuckle, he just whispered something in your ear that only you and him know about. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying?
So the day of the funeral, he's up there and he told me this story right before this happened. He said, "Yeah, that one time I died on the table and God had a message for you,
Mm,
for me." I said, "Yeah, you." He said, "God said, go back to your first love, which is writing." He said, "Write the vision and make it plain." That's what God said. So the day of the funeral, I told Dad, "You're not here, but I'm going to finish what I started.
okay.
I'm going to write. I'm going to make you proud." So at the time, I was separated from my husband. All hell was breaking loose, but didn't know nobody know.
Mhm.
And I said, "Dang, Dad, I wish he was here so I could talk about this." So this is your time to stand up on your own 2 feet.
That's right.
I raised you. You know what to do.
Mhm.
So I began to write. So not too long ago, I was just writing, writing. I was writing with other people in books. And then he came to me again and said, "Write the vision and make it plain." So I wrote the book by myself. And he said, "I want you to sit down and reset. You've been running on empty fumes
Mhm.
for a long time."
Mhm.
I said, "Okay." So when I sat down and the words flowed like water, as if he was in my ear telling me what to write.
That's what's up.
So if we allow the moment of creativity, if it's through music, if it's really talking, letting it out, however, in whatever form that is. Because for some, it could be sports.
Hmm.
Some, it could be being the motivational speaker to someone else. It's still words.
Yep.
It's still words. So I can do anything for all those who do not know. These are conversations she was having with her sons on the way in from school and just in general. I can do anything is a book that is out right now where she gets to talk with her sons about everything, life as she knows it. We talked about being transparent, and this is what our kids need: true transparency and honesty. Keep it real with your children, where they have the right to choose not on false stuff,
That's
on
right.
facts,
That's
where
right.
they can make sound decisions, not
You know,
necessarily.
my son said that to me.
That's
There's a
what he said.
situation. There's a situation where when we first moved from Greensboro to Charlotte, I was at the time I was a recipient of Section 8. Section 8, needless to say, made us homeless for our first couple of months in Charlotte. So from the start of the school year, August 26th of 2018 to December, we were homeless. Uh and my youngest son took it as an adventure. He ain't know. They oh, we staying in the place and it's a hotel. Oh, this one got a kitchen in the room. This one got a pool. This one don't. They don't know because I still went to work. They still went to school. I was still working at a dialysis tech, and it was so stressful because having to be there for something in the morning, I'm paying for hotel rooms, and then having to pay $800 a month out of pocket for childcare because I don't have a voucher. You know, while being homeless. So all of this stuff was going on. And when you talk about being tired, your body will tell you. Because once we got placed in an apartment, I almost had like a stroke, a heart attack. Once everything started to settle and get calm. And when I was going through my lessons to become an EMT and doing the scopes to make sure I was right, I practiced on my boys. So I ended up like feeling myself going under. And if nobody knows what that feels like, it literally feels like almost like how in the movie Get Out when you see him falling, but you're standing and you feel like that. And all I remember is waking up slumped over the couch with my youngest son right up under me and my oldest son with a wet rag wiping my face. At the time, my oldest was only 6 years old, and my youngest was 4. I called my homegirl. She came and got me. She took me to urgent care. Urgent care said, no, she got to go to the emergency room. Get to the emergency room. And I want y'all to know, don't y'all ever let anybody take a blood pressure on you when you're wearing a hoodie. Because one nurse came in there and that's what she did. And they was about to discharge me. But it and I can't get this lady's accent out my head for nothing. She said, "No, child, let me see you." and she could tell that I wasn't focused. She pulled my arm out the hoodie, and when she put the blood pressure cuff on my arm, my blood pressure was 80 over 60, and it was declining. They rushed me up to the telemetry floor at the hospital, and I ended up having to be admitted, and I was in the hospital for a week. Being away from my sons for a week in the hospital, that was hard. That was so hard. But at the time, I had a home girl that I could trust. You know what I'm saying? She said, "Girl, I ain't did this in so long because my child is grown, grown." She said, but I made sure my nephews was all right. She ended up losing her job behind it, but soon as I got out of the hospital and got right, I paid her what she would have made at work and more. You know what I'm saying? Because I understood it and I was grateful. Because nobody else really volunteered that was around. No one else came from out of town. I had to figure this thing out and I had to rely on the village that I created here, you know. And it was all right though. But to see how that experience changed my sons, cuz I ended up being on a heart monitor for 30 days after that. So I still couldn't go back to work.
Mm.
And when you're a single mother and you're the sole provider, that makes it hard on you. That's even though I know I'm doing things right for them, I always feel like I can do more. Lately, I have been told by other poets and other parts of the tribe that I need to sometimes sit down and pat myself on the back because I am doing good. I started hosting an open mic at a Pizza Twist location in Concord, North Carolina, and my baby boy went with me, my youngest Isham. Uh, and we were just having a conversation. And he said, "Umi, you all right?" I said, "Yeah, I'm fine." He said, "You just thinking again?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, what you thinking about?" I said, "Adulting, things that we got to do. Sometimes we just got too much on our plate and we really need to sit down and do the knowledge and make sure that we're making the sound decisions for ourselves and our families if we have one." And he said, "You got a pen and paper?" I said, "I'm a poet. I always do." He said, "Can I write something?" Sure. He ended up writing his own version, his very first piece about having too much on your plate. And to listen to that and to know that my 9-year-old was able to understand through our conversation, and he showed me through action by writing this. And he was, to paraphrase it, he was basically saying, um, having too much on your plate, it basically means when you have too much to do. Like going to work, food shopping, cooking, and paying the bills. My mommy has to do it all, and she can't take a break because these things are necessary so that you do not be homeless. And I just sat there. You know how you cry on the inside?
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, kids, they know.
Hmm.
Even with me not having children, I do a lot. And
Hmm.
it's your body will say, okay, today, sit down, take some rest,
That's right.
relax, because when it's time for you to do what you need to do, you won't have the energy to do.
That's
And then
right.
if you put on that you have other conditions going on in your body, that's another thing you have to be careful for. Um, the thing is, if no one takes anything, and if you could take something from this, is whatever you're dealt, I can do anything.
That's right.
You have no excuses.
That's
It's
right.
gonna be hard. Trust me.
It
I
ain't
get
never
it.
gonna be easy. What's meant for you
But
is never going to be easy.
honey,
You gonna have to go through some fire. You may have to go through a whole bunch of storms, but what's meant for you is meant for you. It just gotta make sure that you prepared to receive it.
absolutely. Because when you get over the hump or you get through and you be like, I can't believe I made it through that, or the
Mhm.
things that you have achieved when you should have been crazy. Come
Yep.
on, we gonna talk about it.
Yep.
When you should have been out your damn mind,
Yep.
when you should have killed somebody, huh?
Or successful at suicide. I did. I
Come
attempted.
on now,
I
girl. If you
attempted.
don't get out my business, and
Yeah. I
then hold up. Let me stop for a minute. What colors you got on?
Oh yeah, I peeped it. That's why I sat up so you could see.
I,
And I didn't take a picture and post on Facebook today on purpose, and we still ended up with the same colors on. hmm I got a whole blue skirt on to go with it. I've been staring at your shoulder this whole time. It was like
I'm
we really rocking the same colors.
I'm tripping. I'm like, this is really freaky. Like,
So wait,
wait,
I got a question though. Why do you call yourself Sunshine?
huh? What happened?
hmm
So you want the truth? Truth?
Yes, we've been telling the truth. We've been transparent. Ain't no time to switch up now.
So it started off as the joke from Harlem Nights, right?
Girl, stop playing. Give me an air five real quick.
That's the honest truth. That's how it
That's the
started.
honest truth. That's how it's. Yeah, I made sure to ask you this tonight.
So yeah, it's I can do anything. So that shut up. Anyway, that
Well, I'm gonna say that that's yeah. One person gave me that name, but my godfather actually was calling me that since I was born. When we got connected on Facebook before my father transitioned, he called me. He said, "You know why you call yourself Sunshine, don't you?" And I said, "Why?" Because I'm like, who done told him my business? And you know what I'm saying?
right, right,
But
right.
he was like, because you came from two of the most powerful people that I know. And they could have only did anything but to create a diamond, and you shine just like one. But you shine so bright, you brighter than the sun. And don't you ever forget that. He said, so I'm the first one that called you that. And I said, okay, sir, I stand corrected.
Yeah, it started off from Harlem Nights, and then it shifted.
hmm
There's another part of it where I was tired of correcting people with my name.
You too?
Yes. So I don't know where I'm like, I know I talk English and I speak English, and they would say everything but Camila. Um and one person was like, you are so bright, like your personality is so bright, you bright, and this and that, you just remind me of the sun. You always bring this beautiful bright personality. You just, you
hmm
know, warm everybody.
You take up space when you enter the
And
room.
so from there, she began to call me Sunshine. And I was just like, you know what? Don't call me Camila no more. It's Sunshine.
That's
And
right.
now it's like it's not even second nature. I'm like, yeah. So when jobs call and they say, what do you prefer? Sunshine. Um, because I find that people who names are similar to mine, that's what they go to first.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless if you just heard me say Camila, it's gonna be Camila, Camila, Camille, every name but you know
Your
what?
name.
Just call me Sunshine. You can't get that wrong. And most of the time in the room or in the area, I'm the only one. And so I make sure that I live up not only to
That's
my birth
right.
name, but
That's
I
right.
live up to this name. Um, and so brightness, color, all of that great stuff, you can't miss me.
Nope.
You'll never forget me.
Yep.
And yeah. So
Yep.
I've never really told that story either. And I don't think
I
nobody.
knew I was gonna get it out of you. Cause me and my homegirl who I co-host her podcast, the Middle Page podcast on Blast music247.com. I just was like, yo, I'm gonna find out why she called Sunshine. Because the moment I said, "Yup, y'all about to get a double dose of sunshine this evening," I said, "Yeah, I'm gonna wait for the podcast so I can ask her on the spot."
Yep.
So I
This
was
is
waiting for that.
we have so much in common is scary to the point of we are dressed in the same freaking color. Like what?
Wally knew what he was doing. He knew exactly what he
What
was
in
doing.
the world just happened? Like literally. So um we are going on almost 2 hours.
Yeah, I was sitting there. You ain't seen my face when I went like that. I said, "Whoa,
Yeah, I told
we
you.
might have to do a part two."
I do have some church announcements, as we say,
Mm-hmm.
but this has been a awesome conversation, an awesome way of people to understand that even in the mess, even through heartache, even through pain, that we can still shine.
That's right.
Not still, you are shining.
That's right.
Um, and we're still being a beacon of light to everyone around us. There is no judgment, there is no age limit, there is no race, there is none of this stuff because we are needy. We have been created for such a time as this.
That's right.
We are powerful in our words, we're powerful in our movements, even having the courage to even encourage our own self when nobody else does.
That's right.
Um, Even if I have to go to bed crying to myself, when I wake up the next morning, I have been recharged.
That's right.
That I am born for purpose. And I know what my purpose is. It is for a person like you. For a person that is watching and listening. I do want to say hello to those who have been on. Please, of course, like, share, and subscribe. Um, my friend Corey put out earlier. He say, "Stay tuned, Sunshine. I have an exclusive interview with Scully from Drew Hill."
Uh-oh.
So again, like people like him, people like Maine who believe in what I do, and they're constantly looking out for me. The goal is to get to TV. I will be the Black Ellen DeGeneres.
I heard that.
Period.
I heard that.
Why do you say Ellen and not Oprah? I get this question a lot.
I don't.
So,
Look, I didn't miss it. I caught it.
okay, thank you. So I'm gonna break it down for those who don't understand. So Ellen was a person who loved sports. Also, she touched almost every part of entertainment, whether it was voiceovers, whether it was cartoons, movies, comedy, all of these things. She was all enwrapped in one. Nor did the world say you had to choose one gift. She used all of her gifts.
That's right.
On top of that, she had a heart of gold. I don't care what y'all hear and what y'all saying. Don't believe the hype. That's all I'm going to say. So at the end of the day, she helped those who needed to be helped. She gave a voice for those who needed to be helped.
That's right.
Color, none of that stuff mattered, right? She was on successfully for years, right? On top of that, even in her sexuality, she didn't make or let anyone deter her from what she stood for.
That's right.
So again, she dressed how she wanted to dress. She did her thing all the way to the end. And my
Dancing.
golly, I'm gonna do it.
Yep, we're
So
gonna see you there. We're gonna see you there because Blast, they're about to start having Blast TV. So, you know, you might mess around and see Shine Vibrations on the TV as well.
then we all got to get there.
That's right.
And then when those doors open, it's our job to bring on people, um, so they can get their shine.
That's
Because
how I actually, like I shared backstage, but that's how I got connected with Blast. Shout out to my sugar. I call her Suge, Carla Simpson. She also goes by Crazy Carla. She pulled me on her show and to interview. I got a chance to spit some poems. The producer came on the back. Shout out to Veep. He was like, "Nah, hold on. I need you to stay on after the broadcast." And he presented the opportunity. He said, "Hey, have you ever thought about a podcast?" Guess what I said? I said, "When I moved to North Carolina, one thing I'm definitely going to do, hopefully I'll get back to writing, but I want to have a podcast." So that was in 2009, 2010 when I first moved to Greensboro. September 30th of 22 is when I did my first episode. I am now at episode 34 and I will be hosting, and I hope you could come. I'm sending the invitation to you personally. I'm having a 1 year celebration of Shines Vibrations here in Charlotte, and it's going to be on September 30th at the Rich Lounge, and it's going to be the first of many Shine Vibrations poetry slam. Vendors, the whole nine, chill music, food, drinks, and you get a show in the process. And those that do compete, there is a cash prize for them. So when the flyer comes out, I'll make sure that I shoot you the flyer so you can share
absolutely,
it. And I'm telling you now, so you can kind of make travel arrangements because things ain't
absolutely,
as easy as it used to be for all of us. So we got to
yeah,
plan now. It ain't no just jumping and going. We got to
jumping and
have
going. Yes,
30 and 60 and sometimes 90 days in advance just to go somewhere for a weekend. So I
I
definitely
got
understand that.
you. So I have truly, thoroughly love hearing me through someone else. Literally.
Yeah.
Um, um, Last October is when I was saying that I had to sit down and restart.
Is that the title?
Yeah, the blueprint God's design. Uh,
I love that.
the idea is most of the time when you build, you have to have a blueprint,
All
and
right.
it helps you to build in the right direction.
Mhm.
So you're not wasting money, you're not wasting time. A lot of things that uh, can go left if you're not following the blueprint correctly.
That's right.
So that's what that is about. I mean, some of it is my personal journey of taking on too much, as you and your son had a conversation about. I'm telling you
Just last Thursday we had the conversation.
that I'm done with you. Anyway,
And look, the other conversation we had, they're switching him to a different school. You know how districts do redistricting and
mhm,
stuff like that. My
mhm,
oldest is going to junior high. He's now going to a school that neither one of them knows anything about. So I'm like, oh, how am I going to break this to him? So I'm already, in mom mode. Okay, well, I could fight for him to still go to this school. I just got to find a way to get him from school to school, stuff like that, because now my job is across town. So I don't have the luxury of leaving to come and drop them off and then go back. That
Mhm.
would take up too much time. My baby boy said, Umi, you fight for us all the time. He said, give me all the facts so I can make a sound decision. I said, okay, it's a new school. You never been there, but you don't have to worry about anybody saying, oh, Isham, oh yeah, that's Elisha's little brother. When I said that, that was enough. He said, "Up, yep, I'm cool with that." I said, "Okay." But what comes with that is a responsibility. Now you have to make sure these people know who you are. They need to know the intelligent young man that you are becoming because the other school knows that already. So when you go there, you're going to act like you are my son. I dubbed them the Royals, the Royal Sons. So you're going to make sure that you shine like one while you're there. And he said, "Yep." He said, "It's okay." He said, "Mommy, I don't want you stressing about how to get me from school and stuff like that. So if that's closer and easier, I'll go there. You've been doing enough. You've been going hard for us." He was like, "Don't worry about it. I got this." And I'm like, "Are you sure?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure." I said, "Well, guess what? You get a bus." He went through the roof. He said, "What? I always wanted to be a kid to ride a bus to school." The little things. I
Yes,
just appreciate that my sons appreciate the little things.
absolutely. And they
And it,
appreciate you.
yeah, but it's so transparent because I tell you, if there was a doubt in my mind the last 2 weeks that I was doing something wrong, the experiences that I have gotten, the recent conversations from people praising me about their experience with my sons and how, oh, yes, they're going to stay with it. This lady told me Sunday, you have done an exceptional job with your sons. Your son said that you're a little hard on yourself. So, mom, take it easy when you go home today.
Right.
Up, there go up. There he go right there. Wally, I see him in the comments. Peace,
Hmm.
peace, peace, cuz. And he commented Nucci's. Let me tell you something quick. Nucci, I've known Nucci all my life. Our families are connected. Like, I grew up knowing that we were cousins. His father DJ'd my first party that I was able to invite my friends and have the party that I wanted when I was turning 13. Um, when my dad was transitioning, his mom, his family, they had a church in PA. I didn't have all the info. I was told one thing and later found out that my dad was trying to protect me. The fact that he was dying from cancer and it had grown and now he had brain cancer. We spent the weekend together and everything and he didn't tell me. He just said, "Baby, I got cancer." So after I came back to North Carolina, I ended up getting a call from him that was alarming. He did not sound like himself. And I called back. He said he was in Beth Israel. And I said, no, there's no way he's in Newark. He's in PA. Me being who I am, I did recon and I found my father within the next 10 minutes. Okay. Talked to the nurse. The nurse told me what was going on. I immediately, and he says, shh, because I don't know if you saw the post where I highlight the brothers that helped me out through that. He I reached out to him and I said, "Bruh, I just need to talk to you." I said, "Do y'all still have the church out there? Is your mom busy?" He was like, "What's going on?" He said, "I gotta go out there tomorrow." I said, "My pops is in the hospital. He got brain cancer. I don't really know what's going on. I just need boots on the ground right now until I could get there. Say less. I got you. I'll go there." When I tell you again, the reason why I will always have love for the black man is because, again, the black man has always been there to protect me. Nucci went to the hospital. He encountered my father. My father was looking at him. He had some jokes. He was like, "You look familiar." And when he told him who his family was, my father said, "Oh, geez." He said, "Yeah, I know your whole family." But he was like, "How did you know I was here?" People don't get my name right. They call me Monique, and that's not my name. That's my oldest sister's middle name. Um, but He was like, but Moni, now that's the family name. He said, when he reported to me, he said, I seen your pops. He was doing good. He was on his way for testing. He told me about the little joke my father had about the family and stuff. And then he said, but how did you know I was here? Who sent you? And when he told him it was me, he said the first thing my father said was, that's my baby. I'm born on my father's birthday, April 25th. And of all his kids, I'm the one born on his birthday. So being there when I was finally able to get there, I also had on my daughter's side, her aunt that I spoke about earlier, they were transitioning at the same time.
Mm.
She literally transitioned the week after my father. So I was up there trying to see both. I watched, listening to you talk about your father. I got the opportunity to watch my father take his last breath. I got the opportunity to, I said, Pop, what you want? Because by this time he couldn't speak, but he told his girlfriend he needed to see me. And I could tell by his eyes the conversation he was having with me. And I said, okay, Pop, you want to listen to your favorite music? I said, all right, I'm about to pull your playlist up. Put the playlist up. And For the Love of You was playing. My father changes. When certain songs come on, he changes. And that was one of them. And I could see he was doing his little dance, his little shimmy, I would call it. And when it got to that bridge, when it's drifting on a memory, right when it got to that part, my father stopped moving. He stopped breathing. I jumped up, put my head to his chest just to make sure I felt his pulse, because now the EMT in me is clicking in. I'm looking at the time, making sure no pulse. My sister's oldest son was about to walk in. I had to stop him. I said, wait a minute, tell the nurse to come in here. The nurse, she checked behind me. She said, what time did you call it? I told her at 7:15. She said, okay. She said, your father used to talk to us about you. You the one, and that's the EMT. I said, yeah. And it was hard because of all the things that we've grown through in life. But I saw the beauty in being able, you know what I'm saying, to be able to share that moment. It's a hefty load, but when you see outside of your personal feelings, the internal feelings, man, that was such a blessing to me. That gave me such a battery in my back. Like everything started clicking after that. It's still some things that's rough that's happening that that we don't like to happen in life. But now as the boulders and the blows come, I know I'm good. That just means I'm getting closer to the goal. I'm getting closer to the next set of blessings. I'm elevating. So whatever else the universe got for me, I'm ready. I'm prepared. My father made sure of that. My mother made sure of that. And the tribe that I have around me made sure of that too.
Mm. Mm-mm-mm. So yeah, that part.
Mhm. So now you stuck with me, right?
Absolutely.
As
We
long,
wearing
as long as you know, as long as you know that we stuck.
the same dang on name and the same dang on colors without talking to each other.
Yeah.
What?
Hmm.
Who does that?
Yeah. That's
Obviously
divine.
us, right?
That's divine timing, divine energy.
That's crazy. That anyway. So if you want to donate to keep the DTE energy lights on in here and all the monthly bills that go on with podcasting, the Cash App is there. Sunshine Camila, that's how you spell my name for real, for real. AC's Teas, my friend. Um, AC's Teas 313-380-0321. The best
Mm,
ginger turmeric teas ever in life. I
mm.
don't know what she put in it other than those. You will be addicted. I promise you. You will be, and she will get you all the way together. Promise you.
Okay.
She is on Facebook at AYECEE. Yeah, you don't want to miss out on that. I promise you.
That's What's up?
The Waffle Cafe Detroit, Monday through Saturday, 8 a.m., 6 p.m., 18685 Livernois, Detroit, Michigan. 313-739-6308. He is the reason why I do podcasting. Larry Book owns this Waffle House. And when I say the food is delicious, it's affordable, it is great. Makes
I'm
me
making
hungry.
a trip. I'm
Right.
making a trip to the D. I got family from there that moved, and I still got some family that's up that way.
Listen,
So yeah,
anytime you want to come this way, please do. Wednesday nights, matter of fact, tonight they are waffling after dark. So they have open $10 charge. You get food, you get entertainment tonight. So again, they're
Wednesday or Tuesday.
Oh shoot, never mind. Tomorrow. Oh, these days be going
You
past.
a day ahead. I know when you trying to put shows together and you got to remember. I know I've been there.
That's tomorrow, Wednesday. Tomorrow I will be on my second film. I will be in a movie tomorrow. Yay. I'll get to that though. Blacktop Streetball Association again. My heart's main event, and all those who have anything to do with Blacktop. He still don't know what he want to do with me, but however, I'm a part of it as well. I can't do what I do without him, without the village. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Alpha and Omega Naturals. My little baby.
I love her. I watched that interview and I knew exactly who she was as soon as I turned it on. And I said, oh, because I got cousins that are hairstylists. So her whole journey that she was talking about, I remember my cousins going to those hair shows. I can show you
pictures when I had my hair completely cut off. My hair is gelled down. That's how thick my hair is now. And it didn't take long. All natural. Back to my little natural curls and all of that stuff from her. My mom's hair completely had fell out from stress and all the other stuff. My mom's hair is growing back. All because
Alpha and Omega. That's the best name for it.
Omega Naturals. Please go to her website. Let her know that I sent you.
That's right.
Hello. All these businesses that I am mentioning are all Black owned. Okay, that's what we do over here.
That's right. That's what we do over here too.
Book also has an event space here. So if you're looking to throw parties, all of that great stuff, 23120 Coolidge Highway, Oak Park, phone number 313-469-2943.
You just gave me a slam location idea.
I'm just saying. Your girl will be in a model show next Friday.
What up, though?
Literally the name of the show. What up, though? Detroit Swag model show. Again, tickets are still on sale at Eventbrite. Just put in Detroit Swag, what up, though? It will come up. It is next Friday, August the 11th at 7 p.m. at the Eastern Market, Shed 3. You do not want to miss it. Again, those tickets are on Eventbrite. General admission is $40, VIP is $60. And we have a lot of models and a lot of designers in this show. You do not want to miss this. Also, your girl, this one right here. Sweeties Day weekend, I am in my first speaking, singing part in a play. I am playing Medea. I'm playing somebody's grandma.
Okay.
He's fine, but is he saved? Saturday and Sunday, October 21st and 22nd, 7 p.m. VIP tickets is going mad. We have 200 tickets for VIP for both nights. We haven't sold any general admissions at all. They all have been
all VIP. I know that's right.
So VIP includes, and that's $60. VIP includes meet and greet of the entire cast. So bruh man from the 5th floor. What is it? So Jewel Taker, Also, one of the guys from Sunday's Best, Dathan Thigpen, and all the
For
Detroit local.
real?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh
You will
my
get that. You will
God.
get light refreshments and, of course, prime seating. You do not want to miss this. Again, it is the weekend of Sweeties Day in the North because they don't do that down south. But however, Henry Ford Civic Center, you do not want to miss this. You want to get on this soon. After September, the tickets will go up additional $5. So get on the early bird special immediately. So again, I'm excited to be on stage. I'm excited for what God is doing in my life and my friends and my wonderful guests. Again, this is a wonderful conversation. I will be back on Thursday with one of the local celebs, as we would say, from Tubi TV. Lloyd Montague will be here. He's doing big in some of the Tubi movies. So again,
I'm a Tubi person. You know,
listen,
I've been seeing some of those.
I just did filming last Sunday for another Tubi TV series that will be aired this fall. So I'm excited about that. So since we had all of our announcements for the night, again, I am here every Tuesday and Thursday until October at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Please like, share, subscribe. I am on Facebook as Sunshine Kamila, Kamela. I will be your friend. You can inbox me if you have people that you are interested to see on here. Please inbox me. Miss Sunshine, the other Sunshine. What is your last words, honey?
Stay up, stay you, and be true to self. That is the phrase. That is the mantra. That is the way of life. And as long as you being true to self and show love whenever you can, everything that you want will come back to you 1,000-fold.
Absolutely. So again, I enjoyed this conversation. We would definitely have to do it again. Maybe we can get the boys in on the conversation, which would be dope too. Again, much success to your event in September and all the other things that you have your hands to do. Everybody have a wonderful good night. Again, I will be here on Thursday. And as we always say, I believe in 6 degrees of separation. You're literally one person away, one advice away, one help away from where you need to be in your destiny, proven over and over again since I started this. And again, keep it real in your conversations and you won't go wrong.
Peace, peace, peace.